Put my glasses on for this.
Yeah.
International Voch. That's my handle, you know?
International Voch.
Here we go. And we are back. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us on this international episode of Crown Global Media here on the Doing All Right podcast. Bryan Broaddus, appreciate you, sir. You joining us in Radio Row. You said something backstage to me. Said, man, Voch, don't get arrogant on me. I say, Bryan, it's too late.
Yeah.
You ain't tell me what the hell was going on. I say, Bryan, it's too late. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't got to go into all that. But Bryan has bumped into some interesting characters at Radio Row there, and it makes Voch feel really good this morning. See, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say, cool, put me on camera. That's what I want to say. If you having a bad day, you know what I'm saying? Just work on your gratitude. You feel me? If you having a bad day, you never know who likes your podcast. You feel me? You never know who's really behind you for real. So when you don't mope when you have a bad day, because you could just be like, damn, Voch, I'm having a bad day, man. But Josina Anderson like my podcast. You know what I'm saying? So let me just be cool. But nah, man, shouts out to all them people over there, man. All the people that Bryan bumped into on Radio Row. Bryan told me some weird stuff. From just talking to people, bumping into people, getting people's opinions on the draft process. Bryan is draft guru, so people want his thoughts on a lot of things. And Bryan likes to talk about draft. And man, Bryan heard something interesting, something special. Bryan, first of all, how you doing? And after you tell me how you doing, go right into the special stuff that you heard.
Well, first off, I'm doing great, guys. It's as always, it's so nice to be with you. I miss you guys. I'll be home on Friday, but yeah, everything's going great out here on Radio Row. It's been interesting. Voch, I know you mentioned about the people. You have a fan base out here, Voch. You really, really do. You mentioned Josina Anderson. She's front and center. Everybody likes Josina Anderson, and she's their position's right across from where we're broadcasting at 105.3, right to my right from where I'm broadcasting currently with you. Yeah. Their production team absolutely loves you. I don't want to lose you to Josina Anderson, but I might.
They don't have enough money, also, they don't have enough money.
Also, too, my guy Sonny from NFL International is who does all the travel stuff, or not the travel, but he works with the league with the games and stuff and international stuff. He just does a lot of great work. Big fan of the program. Big fan of you. A rising star. I'm like, yeah, that's Voch. He's a rising star. So, I have you for a little bit, Voch. I'm gonna tell you. I also heard that they don't like our linebacker from Texas. I've heard talking to some people about the Cowboys, Anthony Hill. I know that, and I say don't like, maybe don't like as much as I do. When we start to talk about the C.J. Allens from Georgia and Anthony Hill from the University of Texas, I know me personally, if the way they're stacked on my board would be Hill and then Allen. The Cowboys have since hired a coach from Georgia that could very well influence the way that goes too. But yeah, I was when I was talking to these folks there, and you mentioned, they asked me, well, what's your opinion on Allen? What's your opinion on Hill? I told them this is how I stacked them. And they're like, I think you're a little high on that guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, thank you very much. And I remember what Voch tells me all the time. These teams suck at drafting. So that I took that in my back pocket and moved on. But yeah, we maybe when things kind of boil down, when we get to it, we start to hear some things. We start to see some mock drafts. When people start to maybe put Anthony Hill in those positions to be drafted for the Cowboys there at 20, we might need to rethink things a little bit there.
Let me just say this, Bryan. Zach Rowe asked us a fantastic question off camera there. Shouts out to Zach. He say, man, Voch and Bryan, when y'all get this information, what happens to your board? And I promptly responded to him, and I think this is important because a lot of people may feel this way. I promptly responded to him, I don't give a damn about their board. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because we have the internet. And we got receipts, you know what I'm saying? And I tell people all the time, trust your own. Don't even trust mine. Don't even trust mine. And I have an incredible hit rate, Bryan, bro. I don't be missing too much. But don't trust my eyes. Trust your own eyes. Build your own board. Do the work. Watch the film yourself. Yeah. I could be starstruck and be like, well, if some scouts in the NFL have a 3 on them, I'm going to acquiesce and put a 3 on them. If I feel like he a 2, Bryan, then he a 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's just is what it's been plenty players that, and we talk about this all the time, whether it be the corners that we talk about, different linebackers or anything like that, Brian. We talk about it all the time, how the league lets some dude go undrafted. Krosky Merritt or something like that, how some dude goes undrafted and some team gets him for a steal or a 7th round pick or something like that, a 6th. And next thing you know, like that dude is a dude in the league, and people on social media, Twitter, YouTube are going, hey man, we've been like that guy. We've been fans of Joey Porter. I don't know why he fell. We don't know why Tyrion Arnold fell to 21. I don't know why Quinyon Mitchell fell to 20 whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, Brian, it's interesting because now I want to ask like 5 more questions. I want to get to the bottom of it. Like, is he a character guy? Did he fail a drug test? Yeah. Did he get caught at the border with some work?
Yeah, you know what? I just kind of got to the position where I was at that position where I'm sitting there going, wow, let me kind of dig in a little more. And the guys are like, no, we got to run on, man. We got to run on. And I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to run on, feel free to run on. But yeah, we absolutely do need to get to the bottom of why that they do not like the player. And it didn't seem like to me, it was just, one scout. It was, and that's going to be the great thing about the combine coming up too, is are we going to be able to ask these questions? I mean, and maybe, like I said, I need to circle back with these guys and figure this out. Like, what's the problem with this player? And is it a character thing? Is it a medical thing? Is it just we don't like the ability? I mean, it was like, I was kind of taken back a little bit, and I should have just followed up with why. What's the problem with this guy? And I just let it go. That's a fight for another day. I don't know how you don't watch this player at that size and the ability to cover ground and the way he plays with the attitude he plays, that nobody would like this guy. Or maybe it's a thing with the instincts and stuff like that. I don't think that's a problem either. I would be surprised. Yeah, I would be surprised if there are teams that have this guy in the 3rd round. And trust me, I've got gang of 7 out there. I'm about to talk to some people and find out where this really is going right now.
Brian, that's your homework assignment for Thursday.
Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Trust me on that. So, Brian,
you don't have to give us a report on the new coach, but I just kind of want to talk about the ideas around it. Let me hop on my Twitter real fast and make sure I got my name right. I can say it if I look at it. You know what I'm saying? I just ain't going to.
Right.
So we got, here we go. The Cowboys are expected to hire Georgia's Chidera Uzo-Diribe as outside linebackers coach. So, let me just say my first little thoughts on this, Brian. I don't know nothing about Buddy. I don't know who he is, but there are some outside thoughts that I have. I told you a couple of weeks ago that I thought it was interesting that they're hyper focusing on like positions and not like groups or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're probably still going to hire a linebackers coach, and they hired a D-line coach in Marcus Dixon, but your D-line coach is probably going to be different than your outside linebackers because they're different. The scheme changes on the way. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I noticed. But there's another thing too, Brian. Christian Parker's a brand new defense coordinator. Hadn't called plays. He doesn't really have this tree to fall back on, Brian. When you hire Flus brings all his people with him. Christian Parker ain't really got people to bring with him. So it kind of forces him to build his group from the ground up, Brian. And I don't know if that benefits the Cowboys, Brian, but it's like, well, it does benefit the Cowboys, but in this way that, man, it's like you ain't got like a loyalty to somebody. Like you ain't got some homeboys that you owe a favor to. You a 33-year-old coach. Like all you know is, well, let's just try to get the best guy. And it seems like I don't know these coaches, Brian. I ain't know shit about Marcus Dixon and Ryan Smith. But it seems like every time the Cowboys hire or they talk to somebody, and shouts out to Schottenheimer because this search has been exhaustive. Every time the Cowboys bring somebody in and we get a report on social media, the one thing I'm always seeing from non-Cowboy people also is that this coach was in demand. They hide in the streets. They up and coming. They young, and they project to be a defensive coordinator or a head coach one day. I think that's super important to tree building. Paul Gunther never gonna be your head coach he's never gonna be your defense coordinator when you fire somebody. All right, Paul Gunther, step up. You know what I mean? But from what I've seen from Ryan Smith, Derek Ainsley, Chidera Uzo-Diribe, I'm seeing people talk about these guys like they're going to be DCs one day. So now in Dallas, we kind of got this factory in this coaching tree just in case Christian Parker leaves us early.
Voch, I couldn't have said it any better, and that's why you're an international star. Because that's exactly when I was asked this morning, I was on with Sean and RJ and Bobby this morning on 105.3 The Fan, and they asked me about the hires and stuff like that. I said, you know what I want out of this? I want the next defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. That's who I want. Because what's going to happen is if Christian Parker is as good as advertised and Christian Parker as a young man turns this thing around and all of a sudden this defense is humming, with Jesse Minter and that what we saw there and with the Chargers, there is going to be a demand for him. And you need to know who the next defensive coordinator is going to be. Sure. And that is my ultimate hope, that they hired the next one. I don't want this thing I don't mind it to being a revolving door as long as there's the Rams way of doing things, revolving door, where there's somebody in place to replace the next guy. That's what I want. And I think you nailed it perfectly with your discussion right there about these coaches. Young, talented, highly thought of at a young age. Those things are all super important to me.
Like, Brian, if Shotty get fired tomorrow, right, Clayton Adams is going to be the next offense coordinator. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's probably going to be somebody in place after Clayton Adams. And the Cowboys defense hasn't really had that. So when they talk about continuity, you can't build continuity around Paul Gunther. I hate I keep talking about Overstreet and Paul Gunther.
No, but you're not right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong about Paul Gunther in that. That's this process has been, you couldn't ask for it to be any better. If these guys, if it just plays out, this might rewrite how Cowboys do things in the future with Stephen Jones, and in that way. The Joneses stayed out of this. It wasn't handshake, have a steak, spend the night, and we're hiring you. Mm-hmm. There was some thought that went into this one. So if this all works out, this could change the direction that the Cowboys go in the future when it comes to hiring coaches.
That's a fantastic bow on it, Bryan Broaddus. Clip that up. Man, Brian, I was watching some film, man. We just talking about some people.
You like to do that. You like to watch some film.
What's the day? The 4th? Let me look on my list because we got the date stamps on there. You was asking somebody on Twitter was like, when y'all gonna talk about Ramsey, the safety from USC? Yeah. And you was like, well, I've watched him, but me and Voch haven't talked about him yet. Brian, this format's so fantastic. We just talk about all the we don't miss players here, Brian. So we did talk.
I don't think so.
No. We talked about Kamari Ramsey on the 28th. I mean the 26th. I went back and looked.
The 28th.
The 26th. The Monday.
I didn't mark him. I didn't mark him on my sheet. That's why. Okay, my apologies.
No, you good. You good. We did World, Hunter, Ramsey, and Davis. So for that person,
my apologies. I'm sorry. God dang it.
No, Brian. That just means you work so hard, and we actually do a great job of covering all these guys. I be forgetting too, Brian. It's all good.
See, no, what I do on my board that you built for me, I put the players we talk about in yellow.
Yeah.
And I've got Scott, I've got Halsey, I've got McNeil Warren, I've got Thieneman, I got Downs. And now I'm marking Ramsey. Yeah. My apologies. Ooh. My apologies to the individual who asked the question. I didn't have him marked on my sheet, and I thought we were coming up on that, but the 28th, it was not that long ago. Should have known better. My bad.
No, see, Brian, you not wrong. They wrong because they miss shows. If they was locked in and watching Monday through Friday, they'd have known that we talked about Kamari Ramsey last week. So it's all. But we appreciate all y'all for listening, man. But look, listen. When I tell you can't afford to miss a show of the Doing All Right podcast draft edition Q&A, man. We go over some shit, man. Don't miss shows. But Brian, I was watching some film, man. You asked me an interesting question about guys, moving up the board. Are they what happens if somebody's down your board and you watch them early, if they end up high up your board, if you watch them late, just kind of that disparity, Brian. And I was like, man, it don't even matter. I'm just going to rank them how I rank them. We got some guys today, Brian. I don't think I'm going to rank them all that high versus some of the people that we've watched already, but we got to talk about them and give them their due like you always say. So first up, Caleb Tiernan, offensive tackle from Northwestern. Now, Brian, the first thing I do is I look up the games that they've played, the people that they played against, and what size they are.
Yeah.
Bryan Tiernan got some good little size on him, Brian. And that excited me because I'm trying to get away from these 300-pound offensive linemen, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tiernan got some 6'7" to him, got some 320, 325 to him. The combine going to let us know what it really is. But Caleb Tiernan got some real good size on him. So I was really excited about that. Watching him in his stance, he got some good arm length to him. So that's a cool thing too. But we're going to wait on them numbers. I think he's solid as a job doer, but he doesn't stand out. That's my first line. He's solid as a job doer, but he doesn't stand out. He's going to do his job, Brian. I wouldn't call him technically refined, but he's a guy that's going to get in somebody's way, and it's going to be just that. There's a lot of holes in his game that I'm about to poke, Brian, but it is what it is. I think his hands are decent. I think his hands kind of fall in the right place sometimes. I think he's patient with his hands. I see a cool little, if you get up on me, I can switch up under and replace and, kind of fight and get him back in the right spot. I felt like he was cool with doing that, and I think he was decent picking up on stunts and gap exchange and stuff like that. But boy, Brian, as I start to poke holes in him, also too, he's a cool help guy and he looks for work. I think that's cool. But as I start to poke holes in him, Brian, there were many times I see him, whether it's run blocking or pass blocking, his feet just stop moving. You can't have it. As an offensive lineman, you can't stop your feet. Also, too, Brian, he get real tall. And the problem with that is he kind of tall already. You know what I'm saying? So he needs to have a little extra effort into like bending his knees a little bit. But Brian, this was the biggest one for me. And I hope I'm wrong about this and you tell me I'm a little different here. I don't use the L word and the S word lightly, as lazy and soft. I don't like to use those words about these players because they play a tough game, but sometimes you ain't got no other way to describe it or whatever. So to keep from saying the S word about this character, he doesn't really physically impose himself on people to be that size, and that pissed me off. I think he catches a lot. I don't think he has a good punch to him. I want him to strike and, tactically lean on people with his 325-pound body, Brian. But sometimes he'll lean just because he's bending at the waist. Sometimes he doesn't strike. Sometimes he waits until somebody invades his personal space. I think he would benefit from learning a quick set and just kind of activating his hands a little, faster, Brian. But he lets guys get to him and they get in his chest and they kind of control him a little bit. And dog, you too big to be letting smaller people control you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, Brian, I wasn't a big fan of Caleb Tiernan. I think he's a project guy. I wish he was a little more physical, and that'll really drop an offensive lineman down my board. And I put traits guys in the 4th round, so I think Caleb Tiernan is kind of going to go there for me.
Yeah, I don't. I think you once again have got an accurate description of the player. I think he is more of a shield down block guy than he is coming off the ball and hammer you. And you talked about hand placement and punch and all that and lack of. It's clear with this guy. I mean, he will start out in some really good football position with his knee bend and his body position, and then the longer he has to go in the block, you will see him tend to get out of whack. And I mean, he can stand on his feet and recover because he's an athlete. He doesn't look 325 pounds on tape. He does not look that type of a build. And I do think there's some light-footedness to his game. Yeah. But I think he's just more of a try and stay in position, try and shield, and you mentioned about getting work.
Yep.
He will try and get the second and the third block, the effort and all that, ball going away. I watched the Michigan game, the Oregon game, Penn State game, and you see him trying. You see him trying to get those blocks. But there were times for a light-footed guy, they'd run this screen and he couldn't get out there to get the block.
Yep.
So he's a guy that initially in the process, we talked about him, or the Pro Football Focuses and the Dane Bruglers, and those guys had this guy as a very, very high player. I agree with your assessment of where he's at. I'm not particularly high as I look for him on the board. I do have him in the third round, but it's closer to a 138, 139 than it is to a 130. I think I don't want to ride the fence on it, but I think he's bottom of the third round. I think you might have him absolutely right in the fourth round. I was not overly impressed. I was impressed with, some of the athletic ability stuff, but I wasn't impressed with the power or anything else that lead me to believe. I didn't see a guy that just could drive people off the ball or stay in position for any length of time. Yeah. And when he had to, he kind of had to recover, and the athletic ability allowed him to do that.
Somebody gonna take him in day 2 because of O-line tax, though. It's gonna happen, but I'm not.
Yeah, there's these guys we've talked about, the Freelands, the Dunkers, those kinds of guys. I actually talked to Brian Baldinger from the NFL Network yesterday, and Baldy was at the Senior Bowl, and I asked him about Dunker, and I said, Baldy, where do you got Dunker from Iowa? And he says, I like the kid. I don't think he's a tackle. I think he's a guard. Sure. And I know some people are talking about him. I have him listed as a tackle myself. I do. I think he's got, in the Senior Bowl, he showed he can play, and you watch the Iowa tape, he can play. But Baldy thinks with his body type that he might be better suited to play as a guard. Again, that's just one man's opinion. He does a lot of work. He goes to these all-star games. He does film work. So maybe some NFL people, we got these tackles, but maybe some of them we're going to transition over, and we'll see him playing guard some.
Yeah, for sure, Brian. I mean, we'll see. We'll see, but
we'll see.
There's
Absolutely.
a lot of up and down on Dunker. I think Dunker's a better tackle than Tiernan is. You know what I mean? So
no, I actually have him above him. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just that. And I see some people got Dunker in the late third or whatever. So I thought that was odd, but whatever. Brian,
you have him as a 2, right? Don't you have him in that?
I got Dunker as a 2 at guard. At tackle, he might be like a 3 for me. But
see, you're ahead of the game. I mean, and the reason why I brought that up is because I remembered you were talking about him playing guard, and I asked, like I say, Brian Baldinger studies his stuff. It's another man's opinion, but I just kind of wanted to maybe get it confirmed. I mean, hell, Voch is onto something here. I mean, when enough people who study this tell me, like, no, this guy's a guard, Brian. This guy's a guard. I'm like, okay, well, damn, I'm not going to be that stubborn, but there's people really working at this. And if you're telling me he's a guard, then I believe what you're saying.
Just for context, I would have Dunker. If Dunker was a tackle on my board, he would be after Lomu so Lomu is my last second-round player. Dunker would be my first third-round tackle as a tackle. At guard, he's my first guard. He'll be the best guard in his class, in my opinion. And I would have him over Prignon and Ione.
Yeah.
That's where I got him at.
I see what you're doing. Yeah.
Brian, why don't you tell us about Joshua Joseph, the edge from the University of Tennessee?
Yeah, this was an interesting one for me as I pull up my notes, because I knocked my I pulled up my board and it went over the top of my my notes. But all right, come on now, pull up there. But yeah, this was one of those. I'm kind of having the trouble with trying to like stack these edge guys, and I'm kind of curious at how it's going to play out. But this was a guy that, to me, when I watched him play, I was like, man, this is a good looking guy. This is the type of guy that that you say, okay, well, he looks good, as we used to say, he looks good on the hoof. And then, when you watch him play, there's some parts of his game where you're going, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. At 6'3", 240 pounds, he's played behind several guys who were NFL players. So he's been behind guys, and now he finally got his chance. Yeah. I think he's got really good length for the position. I mean, the first step, he's got the quickness. You can see he's an athlete, and he can react off the snap. He threatens the tackle off the edge. He's got the burst. He does have some speed. He does have some pass rush moves, but here comes the rub. When do you use them? When do you use them? Are you finding ways to win with them? Are you finding ways, as we've talked about some of these top guys, are you finding a way to win with the quickness? Are you finding a way to get the edge? And are you doing a good job of swat, swim, rip, doing what you have to do to free yourself up? And there are snaps where you see him when he has a chance to use a move to get free and he doesn't use it.
Yep.
And I struggle with that. And then there were times where all of a sudden he's playing a rotating system. He should be fresh. And now he's getting lazy running down the middle of somebody. And then you're like going, well, damn, don't do that. You're good enough to get to the edge. You're good enough to have that, get around the corner. I think he's got the closing speed. You can watch him run in the open field and he could get to the football. But man, he needs that speed into the power, and then to be able to have those pass rush moves. It throws me off watching him because he plays a little high. He'll run down the middle. This guy should be a much better player than he is, or where I think he should be. But man, I just thought he was a little bit late adjusting to some of the run stuff. I think that when the play was developing, he was kind of a little bit late of like, oh, this is what they're running at me. And then he was struggling with that. But man, this guy looks a lot better defending the run than he does the pass, or playing the rush and the passer. And but he sure looks the part for the position. 6'3", 340 pounds. Joshua Joseph from Tennessee.
You said he was a better rundown guy to you?
I thought he was better at rundown than he was pass rush. Yeah. I did. And then, man, I might be struggling on that one. I kind of felt like there were times when the ball was to him or away from him and you saw him getting over there, but they also saw the time where he was a little late reacting to it. Sure. Like he wasn't sure with the scheme, like, oh, what are they doing to me? And then, some of these guys we've seen, some of the top guys, when they down block them, they're around. When they try to double team, they find a way. This guy was a little late with that processing part of it, I thought.
Yeah, for sure, Brian. I think he has. See, this is the problem. I think he has issues with both, but he's sometimes guy. He's very much so sometimes guy. I think he's a high effort player in general, though, Brian. I think he has a really good motor, and motor helps in the run game. So I could see why you say that. He's not going to be like super stack and shed. ID the front, look in the backfield, find the ball guy. He's not going to be that, but I do think with his effort and his athleticism, because he is athletic, I think he can be disruptive in the run game as like a standing outside rusher type guy. You're not wrong about that. I think his run game like needs some work, but it's not like he's getting pushed all out of the play and disappearing in the run game. He's just not good at it right now. I think his pass rushing needs a lot of we need to talk about his pass rush, Brian, because he's super sometimes guy in pass rush. Sometimes he's twitchy and he's always twitchy, but sometimes he's bending the hell out that corner, flattening and getting to the quarterback, causing pressure hits or whatever, and he'll really wow you a little bit on those good plays. But other plays, Brian, you absolutely right. He doesn't have a plan, clearly, because he'll run down the middle of you, or he'll identify a move that worked previously, and he won't go back to it. He's not a guy that's going to set you up in the first quarter to get a sack in the third quarter or anything like that. He's just going to kind of run out there and run down the middle of you. If he's more athletic than you, then he's really going to give you a hard time, because he'll just hit that outside shoulder rush all day, and he'll get you a couple times. He'll win it. He may not always finish and get sacks on it, but the outside rush is his best rush. But I always talk about this. When you translate it to the NFL, they're going to take that away. So now you need an inside move. Now you need something else, a bull rush or something, speed to power, mix it up. But he needs a mix up. He needs some counters, and he needs a better plan. I didn't see a ton of hand usage, and I said decent versus run. He's a linebacker type. So I think we got it, Brian. This is the weird part for me. I want to put him in the third, right? Yeah. Because I think teams are going to look at his physical traits, and they'll just kind of like late third, just take a shot on him, right? I'm not going to bunch him up with the other good pass rushy guys. I kind of got him down here with Derek Moore because they kind of got some of the same issues as well.
Right.
Zion Young, Dennis Smith, I kind of got him ranked down up in here. So, Brian, I got a late 3 on him, me personally.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I was debating because I have him in the 3rd round myself, and I was going to ask you, you don't see him like with height.
No, sir.
From Texas Tech.
No, sir.
You don't see him from Mason Thomas from Oklahoma. No, sir. You don't see that.
But this is the problem, though, right? Brian. He's as athletically gifted as those
That's
guys.
what I'm saying. That's what's screwing me up right now is I'm looking. I can't put him with Howell and Mesidor and those guys, but can I put him with Height, Mason? I think Mason Thomas is a really damn good player. Somebody's going to take that kid from Oklahoma, and they're going to be really happy with him. Yeah. But I've got him in that group with Young, Missouri, Joseph from Tennessee. This is 3rd round stack. Moore, Michigan, Yakis from Illinois, and then Dennis Sutton. I got him in that group right now, and I hate that group. I hate it. I hate that group because I feel like somebody out of that group is going to prove me really, really wrong. Young should probably be higher from Missouri. Young should probably be higher.
Yeah.
But man, Joseph, he could be higher. He could be in that Height Mason Thomas group. But you mentioned it, man. Like, where's the counters? Where's the hand usage? Dude, you've got the burst, you've got the acceleration, you've got everything about it. Where is that? Where is that right now?
See, Brian, this where I think the issue is. And not even the issue, but this is just how we're going to have to break it down. Are you floor guy or are you ceiling guy? Do you expect Joshua Joseph to come in here and contribute day one or something like that? Maybe not. But can you promise me that my new pass rusher coach from Georgia, my new outside linebackers coach, can fix him? If you can fix him, he has the athletic ability to be up there with the high 2nd round guys. He just don't know how to pass rush yet. He don't know how to play football just yet. So if you're a ceiling guy, you might like Josh Joseph a little bit more because of what he could be. I'm not ceiling guy. I'm floor guy. What you show me on film is what I'm going to think of you on the next level. And in my mind, I can maybe project where you're going to be, but I'm going to believe in what I see first. And what I see is a guy that don't have a ton of corners. So I'm counters. So I'm going to assume that you just can't learn a bunch of counters, or maybe it's going to take you a little longer. I think he could be good. It just depends on the coaching, but I don't know who the hell your coach is,
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree.
Brian, we continue to move on here with Dontay Corleone from Cincinnati. If you've seen the movie, I Made You Smile. Dontay Corleone.
Yeah, you know me. I love a good Italian name.
You ain't wrong. Black guy, right?
Yeah,
he got some black Italians, man.
Cincinnati, Ohio kid. Yep, absolutely. You got him.
There's black Lombardis. There's black Corleones. Here's where I'm at with it, Brian. For my defensive tackle one text, he's like 6'1", 6'2", 330 or something like that.
6'1", yeah, 6'1", absolutely,
so he's a little shorter, but big and strong. All right, cool.
Yeah.
If you an athlete, I'm gonna naturally bunch you up there with the athletic defensive tackles. Mm-hmm. If you a little slower, I'm gonna automatically bunch you down there with the slower defensive tackles. Mm-hmm. The issue is there's a large gap between the athletic defensive tackles and the slower. If you're an athletic defensive tackle, you could be like Tyleek Williams and going round 1. Mm-hmm. If not, you could be like Quentin Bohanna or something and going round 7. Like that's just it. Like Quentin Bohanna went when the 7th round. Our D tackle from Arkansas, the Cowboys drafted, but he went to the Saints. He was drafted in the 7th round. Jay Toe is a 7th round guy. If you a defensive tackle, you either going if you're a one tech nose defensive tackle, you either going early because you're special, or you going late because you a 2-down player. Brian, I think our guy Corleone is a 2-down player. That's okay. That's okay because you need those guys. This the problem. I know he's strong, Brian.
Yeah.
I know he's strong because I seen him being strong. but he get a little high, man. He one of them knee bend carries.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he gets he's kind of tall in his stance. I've seen him punch the hell out of people. I know he's strong because I've seen him punch people in their neck snap, but the lower body standing up. So the drive don't always get there. One thing from my one-tech defensive tackles I need from you, Brian, is don't get turned. He gets turned a whole lot, Bryan Broaddus. And I don't know if it's because he's trying to chase the football, he gets turned. He's identifying something in the backfield. But Brian, he gets turned a little bit. I don't think he has pass rush moves to him. He's a cool bull rushing pocket pusher. But pass rush, he ain't really doing it for you. He's really a first, second down, run stopping, I'm big as hell guy. Great extension, though. I will say that. When he punches and gets some extension, I think he's really good at that. I want to see him do something after he after he stacks and extends the hell out of somebody. I want to see him pull some cloth and get rid of those guys. I want to see him incorporate a swim or a rip or something. Brian, I'm not that high on him. Honestly, I think Corleone was a little better last year than he was this year. When our other Cincinnati tackle last year, I forgot his name, but I thought he was a little better last year. And Corleone was coming out last year, but he went back to school. He just hadn't built on his game very much, Brian, and he's just a two-down player. That's all I got for you. I got him in the 4th right now with Dominic Orange because they're the same type of dudes. But if he's a 4th on my board, that means that they could possibly keep falling. They may be drafted in the 7th or something.
I'll tell you what, though, man, it's kind of crazy. I got him in the 3rd.
That's crazy, Brian, but go ahead.
And I got him like under Banks, and I got him ahead of Darrell Jackson.
I haven't seen Darrell Jackson. Okay.
From Florida State. Okay. And I got him ahead of Orange is who I've got him at. I kind of like this guy. And I like him because I like how quickly he could get up the field.
Yeah.
And I like the way when he gets up the field, he can retrace for a big guy. I like the way he retraces his steps. I like the first step quickness. I like the penetration. I like the disruption right off the jump.
Yeah.
I do think he plays the run pretty well. And I think there's things in the past that he's actually pretty good at. I think when he's able to, that quick move, the penetration move. Now, does he always finish? No. But he's back there. And I think he's one of those guys that when you watch him play as a tackle at 335, he could play a little wider. And I mean, wider when the ball goes to the outside. Watching him play against Baylor and BYU, they were trying to kind of get the ball to the outside, and he was able to kind of make that play. I has a ton of power at the point of attack. And I feel like this guy's kind of a bully when he gets there with some quickness. I did. My line was a bully with some quickness. I've seen him walk blockers back into the pocket. I think he'd be a tough guy to deal with once he gets that head of steam going. His power, his quickness, I think that puts some blockers in some tough spots with him. I think the pad level could be a little tall. I don't disagree on that. I'd like to see more pass rush moves, but man, he's a 335-pound guy. But the power, the quickness, I think is something that you can actually work with him. So maybe the pass rush moves, maybe the hand usage, maybe that will come along with some of that stuff. He does play in a rotating system at Cincinnati, but I wouldn't call him sloppy or lazy in the way he plays. I have him in the 3rd round, and like I said, I mentioned where I stacked him. I stacked him in that group. Banks. I'm going to leave Banks there. I know a lot of people have Banks as possibly a 1st-round guy from Florida, maybe a 2nd-round guy. I'm going to leave him there in the 3rd. Corleone going to be right there with him. Darrell Jackson, Florida State, and then our guy Orange. I've got all those guys in the 3rd round.
Well, Brian, you have a very acquired taste in your one text there, you know what I mean? So I ain't really gonna get on to you too bad. I mean, we're just around apart. You know, you have a 3 on him. I got a 4 on him as it stands, but that means he probably gonna go in the 6th or the 7th or something like that.
Oh no. If you, I do my taste with this. I just remember the guy, like I say, watching him at the East-West game, and I'm not letting that totally influence me, but just watching the way he played and then watching the Cincinnati tape.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in Baylor and BYU, and I'm thinking BYU with kind of a bigger offensive line, and the way he was able to kind of push those guys around, it got my attention. And I think, listen, you're absolutely right. He could go where you have him because it seems like to me we've got a good group of these one technique defensive tackles. Yeah. And maybe somebody will say, well, I don't like him as much as I like Jackson or Orange or Hunter. Yeah. I don't think he's in the range with McDonald, Miller, Hunter, those guys. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, man, that first step quickness, the power, I'm going to leave him there in the third and hope somebody has the same vision that I have for the player.
So, Bryan, this is the first time we're going to play this game, so just get ready for me.
Yeah.
Corleone or Keith Abney? Who you drafting first?
Taking Abney.
Cornerback from Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State.
Corleone or Ramsey from USC?
Ramsey, USC.
Corleone or J.C. Davis, the tackle from Illinois?
I'm going to take Corleone.
So you got a late 3 on him, like a later 3, like a 139 on him.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Okay. I do.
Bryan, I think we're going to keep watching players, and I think Corleone going to keep dropping down your damn board.
Hey, you know what? You made a point now.
Yeah.
You made a point where I am going to he's stuck. It's like when Chris Hall that time when Tony Romo was on the board, and they kept wanting to drop Tony Romo out of the 5th round. Yeah. And Chris Hall says, you MFers aren't dropping him down that board. Don't put him in the 5th round there and then start dropping him down to priority free agent guy. He wouldn't let him do it. Yeah. I am not letting you shame me into that fine Cincinnati, Ohio native. I'm not letting you shame to drop him down in the 6th round. And you're sitting there, Corleone or Overton from Alabama.
I'm just asking you proper questions. How about this? Jacoby Lane, the wide receiver from USC, or Corleone?
Oh God. I'm gonna take Corleone.
Man, you mad, Bryan? You lying to yourself, man. That man's a 4th round defensive tackle.
No, he's not. He's not. That guy plays with power.
He does.
He plays with power. Sure. He could redirect. He plays wider than he's 335 pounds.
Sure is.
Yeah, he's a hard guy to move, and he gets up the field, redirection. Come on, man. What tape you watching?
He about to be what a powerful 2-down day 3 player is what he about to be.
I'm telling you what, man. I cannot wait till we're working on the draft and that son of a gun goes in the 3rd round. I'm going to look at you and I'm going to tell you. Or you know what's going to happen? Voch will be working together and he'll go, who's the best player on your board? We're down there in the 6th round.
I'm going to say shit. Lane, Trigg, Davis, Coleman. I'm going to say Moore, Zion. I'm going to say a bunch of names. But it's all good.
You ain't saying that man from Cincinnati, Ohio's name, are you?
He cool, though. Bryan, why don't you tell us about Anthony Lucas, who's an interesting character, who beat up on Caleb Tiernan pretty bad. Anthony Lucas, the edge from USC. Tell us about him.
Yeah, it's interesting. This guy, when you look at him physically, man, he clearly looks the part. He's like a stand-up. He plays like they play like a 3-man line there, and he's like a stand-up edge. He transferred from Texas A&M, by the way, to go to USC. He's got some of the longest arms I've seen on a defensive end. I mean, you watch him stand there and play in football position, and those. It's like his fingers are touching the ground. That's how long his arms are. But he does a nice job. He uses length in order to control blockers at the point of attack. He's 6'5", he's 285 is what I got. Yeah. That's what I got measurement-wise. And so, I mean, he looks – I mean, he's a big guy. He does a good job of holding the point of attack. I didn't see him get knocked around a whole heck of a lot. I did once again see a much better run defender than I did a pass rusher. The scheme doesn't have him screaming off the edges, hand down, run, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I wouldn't call him really explosive or bursty when rushing the passer. He's going to get the edge more by pushing the pocket or walking the tackle back instead of pressing the tackle's shoulder and getting around the corner. He doesn't have huge production numbers for the position. And I think the scheme might have something to do with that. I really do. Yeah. But the bend is not great. I don't think he turns the corner particularly well at the top of the rush. Mm-hmm. So the guy that I kind of thought about, and Voch, tell me if this makes sense to you, was Chauncey Golston, is who I kind of thought when I was watching this guy.
Sure.
Is that fair or is that unfair?
I'll say this to you, Brian. I think Lucas is a bit better of a pass rusher than Chauncey Golston. Okay. So this is where I got to be a little careful with my evaluation. And I encourage everybody to kind of think like this, to not get caught up in your own stereotypes. Because what I will do sometimes is I'll look at a player like this and I'll watch a couple of plays and I'll be like, oh, you one of them bigger, not bendy, good versus the run guys.
Yeah.
And that's partially true. But when I watch Anthony Lucas here, Brian, I kind of watch him versus some of the guys in his peer group, right? Meaning some of the other bigger dudes that are good versus the run that don't bend all that well.
Yeah.
I think Lucas is a much better pass rusher than some of those other guys. I think he's a better pass rusher than Danny Dennis-Smith or Gabe Jacques or LT Overton. You are correct. I don't think he's bendy or explosive, but he has that. Not exactly, but he has this Tank Lawrence, when Tank was getting sacks or whatever, he wasn't bendy, but he was being strong. He did
pushing guys
around. He doesn't have the biggest tool belt of pass rush moves, but he has a few of them. And I think that's what kind of separates him. Danny Dennis-Smith, even Zion Young, Gabe Jacques, they kind of run down the middle of people and they physically impose them, and that's how they get pressure. I've seen Lucas blitz from linebacker. I've seen him loop from edge. I've seen him stack somebody up as a 4-eye kind of guy. I've seen him rush from 3. You know what I'm saying? And he'll have different moves. I think he's a little more agile than some of those other guys that I mentioned a little bit earlier, Brian. So I kind of bumped him up the board a little bit. Let me read what I got on him. Big body, great length, athleticism, powerful punch, extension. He extends the hell out of people, Brian. He gets bodies off of them. He moves all up and down the line of scrimmage. I just mentioned that B gap, whether he's in a 5 and somebody lines up outside of him, he'll stand up and rush from the edge. Like I said, I saw him one time at a linebacker. One time, it's funny because I watched Tiernan first and then I watched Lucas and I was like, okay, USC played Northwestern. He beat the hell out of Tiernan, Brian. So I thought that was interesting there. That was fun. Has a few change ups to his pass rush plan, but he mostly relies on bull rush. He's strong, but he needs to work on that. Some hand fighting. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I think he's naturally reacting to the hand fight, but he's trying. So I respect that as opposed to I'm just going to lower my head, duck my shoulder into somebody. So that's kind of where I kind of separate him as well. But he has some hand fighting. Decent versus the run. I think his power and his size and his effort kind of makes him a cool, disruptive run player. But when you get down blocked, don't just run on field and get trapped or get countered,
exactly.
Stuff like that. He needs to he needs to identify the runs better or like run blocks better. And he does get caught up on some blocks. Like if you latch on to him, he will get stuck. So he's one of those guys that's better early in the rep than later in the rep. You see what I'm saying, Brian? I got a 3
absolutely.
on him. I got a 3 on him. I got him behind Derek Moore. Over Zion Young. I might put Zion Young over him. I may switch those two, but I definitely have him over Joseph, Dennis Sutton, Jacques, and Overton.
Yeah, I have him actually behind Joseph in that stack we were talking about. I know we were going to get to him and stuff. Young, Joseph, Lucas, and then Moore, Sutton is how I got it. I that to me was I think the scheme is a detriment to him.
Sure.
I think he could be a better player. I really do. And I just worry a little bit about the scheme because I think that he got held back a little bit because of that. And so I'm like, I think that maybe that we have a better player here. And because I do the size, the bendy part again, it kind of like Broaddus. What are you talking about? We got, with Voch and these guys that aren't that way. They're 6'5", they're 280. Where are you at? Why is one guy way above the other? I do feel like this guy has some ability. I think you could help him to be a better pass rusher? Because I think the size, maybe I should be saying the same damn thing about Voch.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've seen Voch, but I'm really struggling right now with these 6'5", 280-pound guys, where to put them on the board. And I think Lucas is a guy that needs to be considered, third round, where I have Voch in the bottom of the second, closer to the third, because I'm just not really sure about these guys.
I think so. How I kind of look at it, Brian, these bigger edges that don't pass rush really well, how I'm gonna like separate them is how far I think they are away from being fixed. Like Kelvin Falk and TJ Parker aren't great pass rushers right now. I think it's easier to fix them than it is Overton or Derek Moore, if that makes sense to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think that, with Parker, Falk, they're all kind of right there. Young, I really like a lot. Probably should have Young higher.
Yeah.
But Joseph's probably should have higher there. But man, this guy, he could get with the right team, and all of a sudden it's not playing that USC scheme. And I just think it's affecting him. I think he's a better player than probably, where I have him in the third round there, but I do like him. I do like him better than the Michigan kid and the Illinois kid in Penn State as well.
Aaron Wilson on Twitter, Brian.
Yeah.
He covers the NFL and the Texans or something like that. Has tweeted, the Cowboys hired former Browns assistant receivers coach Stephen Bravo Brown, which is fire of a damn name, Stephen Bravo Brown, per league source. He also coached on defense and special teams, Brian. So maybe that's something you can confirm, like later on, not now. Like that's something you can text somebody about, figure something out. But it seems like they are still making moves there, Brian. So that's that. I think that's what my guy Will Steele was talking about earlier. I'm just looking at it right now. So maybe that's
Bravo Brown. Here we go.
Man, Stephen Bravo Brown is hard, bro. That's a tough ass name.
It should be a movie about Stephen Bravo Brown. That movie, military guy doing something, saving the world.
That's tough. Brian, appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much for having these reports, man. Some people think that we just show up and agree all day, but we've been disagreeing on these edges and these one texts. These noses, these edges and these noses. So, man, Brian, we one of us gonna be right. It was some player last year that we was really. It was the corner from Clemson that went to the Ravens. And you was like, you like him a little bit, and I was like, I don't know. And then he started getting whooped in the season. And look, I ain't really hit you about it. I ain't really text you or nothing. But I was just like, damn, man, that's Brian's guy getting ran past like this. So maybe one day when Lee Hunter and Dominic Orange and Corleone are here whooping feet from A-Gap, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll call you and apologize. You feel me? All right, so Brian stuck, so we're going to go ahead and wrap the show. His internet went out right on time. Well, I see people moving. All right, cool.
No, I'm back. I'm back. Here I am. I'm with you, man.
All right, cool. Don't even worry about it.
We're all good.
We was wrapping up the show anyway. It's 10:06.
What were you telling me? The guy I was listening to you. I was hoping you were going to pop back in. So what happened, though, after he was getting whooped and people were telling you Broaddus doesn't know how to scout? What was going on?
So I was saying Nate Wiggins got whooped, but I didn't have the heart to text you about it. You know what I'm saying? Because we friends for real. But I do fully anticipate that one day Corleone and them gonna go crazy on the field, and you gonna like hit me up like, hey man, how about that Corleone kid? Just for people that think we agree on everything. We disagree a lot. We just agree a lot as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Like, I think Nate Wiggins played all right at the end, but I the thing about it is, like, say I think we're getting to the point now. Listen to me, trying to recover on that. The thing I think that's interesting is that we're in these are the tough things when you get into the personnel evaluations, that maybe you're a little bit more lockstep with some things about some of the top guys, but then you get to a point where now you're talking like third, fourth round guys, and it's like, okay, where's the value and what are you seeing that maybe they don't have, and you're trying to find that trait, and what they're doing is keeping them from being a second or third round guy. I think I think our shows are going to be that way. I think there's going to be probably far more disagreement on some of these guys than agreements. And it's just and that's how it naturally works in a scouting office, in a war room. When you start to put these names up on the board, there's some scouts that are going to fight like hell for guys, and then there's going to be other guys that don't do that.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. Y'all
Thank
can
you,
find
sir.
everything, the different shows we do, the merch that we putting out, the social media links. If it's anything that you're looking for, it's on our website, crownglobalmedia.com. Go over there, check the audio platform, whatever you're looking for. Hey, Voch, where's such and such? It's on the website. Go over there and check it out, crownglobalmedia.com. You can catch Bryan on socials at Crown Global Media. I'm going to be on socials at Voch Lombardi. Bryan, I just posted my big board on Twitter. Well, my chart or whatever, so people can follow along with that. So if you want to come over to my Twitter at Voch Lombardi, you'll see where I kind of got these guys ranked. It's going to be constantly changing. I'm going to be moving guys maybe up a spot. I may be adding some notes to it or whatever. I'm going to be adding players. Like there's me and Bryan trying to end around 200, 210, 215 or so players. So I'm going to be constantly stacking players, moving guys around, putting them in position, and then I'm going to make a top 50, and then I'm going to make a top 100. And y'all can follow along while I'm doing that. It's on my Twitter right now. And when Bryan gets to about 100, maybe we're gonna put his out, and we'll put those on the website as well, so you guys can
absolutely
can find them easily there. Tomorrow we're doing Q&A. So get ready for the Q&A, and then I'll have your homework assignment ready for y'all Friday. Me and Bryan already know what's going on. Me and Bryan stocked up for the next 3 weeks there with homework assignments, so it's good to go. All right. Love y'all to pieces. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next time, all right? Crown.